Hi, this is Peter Godinez. We're here with KEDY TV and Meet the Candidate. And we have the wonderful opportunity to be here with Art Hernandez. And so, Art, we finally got you in. Busy man that you are.
I appreciate your patience and waiting to give me this opportunity.
You're worth the wait, Art, really. Now, your two peers actually came in, and so you had a chance to see them.
And they had a good experience.
And I hope you saw that. So this is painless. I just want you to know, we want to get to know who you are, and this will be something that you can use anytime you want. So the basic thing is, let's just start from the beginning in regard to, let's say, where were you from, and tell us about your original family.
Well, I'm a lifelong Oxnard resident, so I've lived all my life, went to local schools, went to Real Mesa High School, and then had the privilege, opportunity to be able to attend UC Santa Barbara, so I went to school there.
So you're a gaucho.
Yeah. And I met my wife there, and moved back to Oxnard, started a family, I have 2 children, adult children, and they live in the community also. I have one son who's finishing up at Cal Poly.
San Luis Obispo, that's where I went. Come
So,
on, San Luis Obispo.
So, other than that, I came back, and over the years, there were several things. First, I was in business, so I had some business experience. Then I got involved in education. I actually taught 5th grade for 5 years. And then I had the opportunity to apply for a job working for the county. So for the last 17 years, I've been employed with the County of Ventura as a human services manager. I manage CalWorks and Medi-Cal and food stamp programs here for the Oxnard area. And actually, I see some programs throughout the county. So that's pretty much it.
When did you start the county HR department?
No, it's not HR, human services.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Human services. Yeah.
Okay.
17 years ago. So would that be like 1996 maybe?
My math.
Yeah.
We're gonna go with your numbers. Now, when you were just a kid in here, just talk to us. Your parents were you raised by your parents?
Yeah, my parents. Unfortunately, when I was 13, my father passed away.
Okay.
And my mother remained a widow for about 20 years, and she remarried later in life. But I was basically raised by a single mother. I have 2 older brothers. I have a younger sister, and My dad had grown up here in the area, and my mother had come from Camarillo, but via Arizona. So a lot of us roots in agriculture. That's my parents, my grandparents, and that was what they did as a living. My dad later on, he was a young man, but he got involved in construction. So we were involved in the construction business. My dad was, and some of my brothers have continued in that. So.
What were some of your memories in terms of growing up in Oxnard?
Well, actually, I grew up in an area, it's considered Oxnard now, but I grew up in El Rio.
El Rio, okay.
Yeah, and the area I grew up in is right next to where the towers are, the Financial Plaza.
Really, that's changed.
College Park, yeah. But at that time, there really wasn't anything. Once you left Oxnard and you went past maybe now where it used to be like where the Colonial House is, but let's say as soon as you pass where McDonald's is on Oxnard Boulevard and you go, there was nothing there except for lemon orchards. And all the way until you got into the freeway, which was just 2 lanes. And
I remember that, yeah.
there was a little river bottom there. There was no tower. There was nothing really other than it was before the Esplanade, before anything. So it was a pretty special area. It was nice. It was nice growing up there. It was a little residential neighborhood. A lot of people from the Navy base had stayed here and then lived here. So it was a pretty diverse little community. So we really enjoyed growing up there.
I just remember a lot of eucalyptus trees.
Yeah, a lot of that. Sometimes there's areas I'll drive by and they'll have eucalyptus trees and it'll bring back a nostalgic feeling.
Yeah,
there used to be a lot of them. We don't see, you see patches here and there, but.
Did you have to share any space with brothers or sisters?
We all grew up sharing a room, my brothers,
Oh, that must have been interesting.
So, and since I was younger, I ended up sharing with my sister for a little bit. Until I got older, one of my brothers left for college, and then I got to move into the other room. But yeah, those were those kinds of things, during the time, it's difficult because brothers and sisters give each other a hard time.
Of course.
But there's some of the best memories I have of spending that time
You learn how to honor and respect women, now it's an empowered woman. I'm sure you keep in contact with her. She's
oh yeah, my
there.
sister and I are very close. Yeah, we all live. All our siblings live here in Oxnard.
I think that's really neat when siblings can actually stay close in communication.
Yeah.
Do you ever call her up for advice and say, "Hey sis, I need a"?
Well, I do occasionally, more for assistance, because she's really always helpful. So I'm the big brother, so I'm usually the one that's tapped for advice.
That's always a good thing.
I generally am. It's easier for me to give it than to take it.
Oh, I can relate to that. I have a sister myself. So what was it like having being raised in Oxford and all of a sudden going up to Isla Vista? I mean, being a gaucho. Did you go up there as a freshman?
I went as a freshman. I went as a freshman from high school, and I thought at the time, I thought I was pretty prepared for it. You come out of high school, I did okay, and I did reasonably well. So I went to UCSB, and I got humbled pretty quick. You get in there, there's a lot of smart people when you get there. A lot of smarter people.
Yeah.
So you kind of get over there and you learn. It's like anything else, a new experience, and you kind of learn to navigate. You learn to understand how the system works. So half of it really, when you get there, and that's in anything, is learning to navigate the system.
Exactly.
And once you're doing it, and doing that at the same time, concentrating on school can be challenging. So if you've had very limited experience, growing up in Oxnard, didn't leave much, and you go into a larger experience, it's challenging. Some students get there and they've had a lot of variety of different experiences. And to navigate is a little bit easier. But there's a lot of programs available. We just need to make sure, at the time, you have to make sure you're available yourself to them. Now there's a lot more. And I think it's important that students understand that and they avail themselves to whatever help is available.
That's some good advice and everything. Did you go through the 4-year program, or did you have to extend it, go to summer school?
No, actually I did go to summer school, but I made it out in 4 years.
That's an accomplishment.
So, I had a family who pretty much knew that college took 4 years, and I had an older brother who said, see you back in 4 years. And
that's quite
make sure you finish before. So there wasn't anybody I could really kind of.
No, UC school is much tougher than when I went to the state school. Now, what'd you major in? That's pretty
Economics.
Economics. Now that's hard. Guns and butter. It's a little harder than the guns and butter, which I thought, because I got a B in that subject. But do you have any friends or mentors you keep in contact with?
I have all sorts of friends. There's a lot of us that went to UC. Growing up in a traditional family, it was always hard to leave. In fact, I had a difficult time because at the time it was just myself and my sister at home with my mom, and I had a difficult time leaving them because I thought I needed to be around. But I was encouraged by my brothers and my mother and said, no, you need to go. But it was a challenge. It was a challenge leaving the family and being away. And I remember it being a little difficult. I remember really missing home on Sundays because I'd be home. I mean, I'd be at school.
Yeah.
And that's the time when things are kind of quiet and things go on, you start to think and you start to feel. And I remember that those first months and probably half the year, really missing being homesick on Sundays.
Yeah.
During the week, you tend to keep busy with a lot of things, but that was the time.
Kind of wish maybe I should have Oxnard.
But it was an experience. I met my wife there.
That's always a good thing. You either your junior year or
no, right? We were ready to leave. Actually, we met in May and graduated in June.
Well, it's based on a true story movie, that type of thing. So I know you went to work for the county, but now you're involved in education. What was there a passion that drove you to be involved in education?
Well, actually, what it was is that my wife and I both went through the public education system.
Okay.
And when we moved back and we decided to raise our family and came to our kids to school age, you start to think, as a parent, say, well, is private school an option or is this an option? Where's the best thing you can do for your child? And we both believed that we had to come back and give back to the public education system, that we needed to go and be parents in the system. Maybe we felt that just based on perception that it wasn't going to meet our needs as parents or for our childhood, that we believed that we needed to have our child go there for the experiences and also become involved and be a part, come back and give back to the community as having the gift of education to come back and give another perspective for not only growing up there but also being parents there now. So that's how we got involved. Our kids started in the El Rio School District, And I was there, I don't know, it might have been my son was maybe 7 or 8 years old. And I just had this thought, my wife and I had the thought that we wanted to get a little more involved. And we looked at the school board, and then we thought one of us should run, and she wasn't interested. So that's how I decided to run for the school board at that time.
Wow.
So I ran for that, so I was on there for 5 years. And at that time, then my son was going into high school, my oldest son.
Mm-hmm.
And what was interesting is going back to being a board member in the elementary school district where I had gone. So it was a real kind of coming home, really warm feeling that I really felt a part of that I could do. Same thing when my son went into high school, I decided to run for the high school board. So I ran for the Oxnard Union High School District Board. I left the real board and ran for Oxnard Union and got elected to that. And the same thing going back to Milo High School, but not only Milo High School, there was Channel Island, there was Oxnard, there was Camarillo. It was a larger district.
Yes.
So by this time, bringing my experiences and the experiences of having children in the district was just very rewarding, and I felt that we were really contributing a lot and being a part of that.